You're listening to Honey, We Made a Disney Podcast. Two friends since first grade, now dads reliving the Disney movies we grew up on with our own kids. I'm Eddie Ferguson.
And I'm JB Wagner. And on today's episode, the spirits of Christmas past, present, and yet to come help us review the Muppets Christmas Carol. Eddie, how long have you been waiting to do that kind of an intro? Did you just come up with that on the spot? Or you're like, I got a great idea for today.
I had it about a week ago after we recorded last week's episode, and I've been sitting on it for a while. So.
I mean, we should have been doing it at this point. But Eddie, what's your plans for the family for Christmas?
We don't know yet, because now
it's 2020. We never know.
My parents are still pretty sick with COVID.
That sucks.
So we don't know what that's going to look like. Dad's like at the 14-day mark and mom's at like the 7-day mark, and she's starting to get better already, but dad's not. So hopefully we can get out of this. But all that being said, hopefully we get to have a nice big family Christmas, especially seeing that the majority of our family will now be immune to COVID. So
everybody has the antibodies now.
Yes, exactly. So we're looking forward to that. And the benefit, we are so blessed to have both sets of family, both sets of parents. They live like 3 minutes apart from each other. So it makes holidays really simple. And we feel kind of spoiled for that. So yes, we'll be doing that. And I think between now and then we have maybe at least 100 more viewings of the Mickey Christmas specials that are on Disney Plus. Once Upon a Christmas, and let's not forget about Twice Upon a Christmas. We've probably only watched those, about 300 times so far this Christmas
season. And
then
Mickey's Christmas Carol, which is a node to later on where we may be bringing it back up.
He doesn't know that exists.
You didn't want to add a third one in there just to kind of mix it up a little bit?
Well, we also have Prep and Landing, and then Prep and Landing Nice and Naughty List. Have you watched these? No. Okay, you actually should. Those are pretty clever. Those are good. They're on Disney Plus. They made them for some Christmas special a couple of years ago. It's pretty good.
Okay. We will be we have three. We're going to be having 3 Christmases this year.
Ooh.
Because there'll be a little bit of traveling happening in there. So we're having our Christmas with us and our family for before Christmas, a few days before. Mm-hmm. Then we go visit my parents, and we're going to be spending some time with them and my sisters. And so that'll be our Christmas Day Christmas. Then when we're also be spending some time with my wife's side of the family, and then so that'll be third Christmas. So we have 3 different Christmases that we're going to be doing this year. We've had to kind of tell that to my son as we go, like, okay, first Christmas is going to be this time, and then we're going to do second and third, and so he's going to be so ecstatic. He's going to be over the moon. He's going to kind of be sad when there's not more presents coming.
I was talking with a group of kids on Sunday, and we had this discussion. One kid says, I get to have 3 Christmases this year because, and he pretty much names the same thing that you just said. And then, of course, in classic kid fashion, when you're in a group, the next kid's like, well, we're having 4 Christmases.
What?
And then the next kid's 5. And it finally got up to one kid saying, we're going to have 8 Christmases. I'm like, great. Let's move on.
Let's move on. And cut. I'm already done with this.
Which we need to do as well, because we have a ton to cover here in this section of the podcast, where we try and bring you up to speed on some news. Last week we covered the Star Wars and Marvel news that was announced at Disney's Investor Day 2020, and we just lightly said, we'll leave the rest for next week's podcast. And I don't know if you can see JB's face right now, but it reflects the monumental amount that we just pushed off to this time period, because
my head hurts.
So much stuff.
There's
announced.
so much content. They have already told us what's coming, and it hurts to just try and hold it all.
So just for time's sake, there was, Disney owns so much that it's hard to remember that they own like Hulu and FX, and they announced some stuff. They announced they own National Geographic, and they announced some cool stuff, like a really fun Darren Aronofsky series that's coming out. Like, what? Like, they're doing some really cool stuff with National Geographic, but we don't even have time to get to that. Let's start by Disney Plus TV series. They announced it, JB. Mighty Ducks the series. Coach Bombay himself is coming back.
They announced it the day after we launched. Well, I don't know if it was the day after we recorded, but the day after our podcast came out last week.
Yeah. We
Wednesday
teased it, though.
Thursday.
There was rumors, but we didn't really know. But they officially confirmed it's present day, 20 some years removed from the original movie. And it is bringing Emilio Estevez back as Coach Gordon Bombay. I couldn't be more excited about this if you couldn't tell.
Perfect timing for us. No, I saw that and I immediately just started laughing. I was like, we just launched the episode. If we would have known this beforehand, we would have talked more about this. And now we don't have time to talk about it because there's so many things. I'm just going to...
They also announced Turner and Hooch series with Josh Peck. I didn't know we needed that. I'm not sure we want it, but
it wasn't. It's not even on my 30 things that I wanted to talk about because I am definitely excited to see not remake, but I'm bringing back the gang back together for Hocus Pocus. Yes. My wife's favorite, one of my wife's favorite Halloween films, which we watch every year now. On Halloween, Baymax.
Ours too.
Baymax.
Oh, you're going all over the place.
I'm going all over the place. I don't have any rhyme or reason to
I'm
a couple of these.
I'm following the article I sent you here.
Oh, okay. No, I couldn't. I had to stop because
you're going to jump all over the place.
There's too much. Eddie, tell me about a few. I'll give you a turn.
So from a Disney Plus series that I had no idea they were doing, but I'm so excited about, they're doing a series, a Swiss Family Robinson series for Disney Plus. It's from Outlander's Ron Moore and Crazy Rich Asians John Chu. Like, I'm just really excited about that, and I think it's going to be really cool. So,
couple Disney animated films that they're now turning into series that I'm really interested in. One is Tiana from
Princess and the Frog, which is one of our favorites. We love that movie.
Princess and the Frog. Also Moana.
Yeah.
What are they going to do with Moana, and is The Rock involved? Those are my questions.
And Lin-Manuel Miranda. Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course there has to be.
But specifically.
Yeah. They announced the full cast for the live-action Little Mermaid. The redeeming quality in all of this is that Melissa McCarthy is Ursula.
Great decision.
That is wonderful. I think the other thing that I'm very interested in about is that they're doing a hybrid live action animated feature of Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers.
And the
John Mulaney, Andy Samberg.
Eddie, has Andy Samberg voiced a character in an animated film yet? Do we know that? Do you want to try to pull that up? Because that's incredible. I can't.
I'm really excited.
I can't contain my excitement for, especially the two of them doing Chip and Dale is going to be incredible. Another
Brooklyn Nine-Nine is one of my favorite TV shows of all time.
Nine-Nine.
It's Nine-Nine.
It's a little piece of heaven here on Earth.
It really is.
There's been so much stuff else to talk about very, very quickly, but two other ones randomly.
Yes, he was. If you were curious, he voiced in Space Chimps, one of your favorite movies, and then also Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, and then Hotel Transylvania.
Okay,
and let's not forget 2016 Storks.
Fine, this is his moment. This has one of the most interesting storylines. I didn't even know I wanted to know this, but now I'm excited to know about it. Lightyear, Eddie. Lightyear.
So this is what I teased in last week's episode of the Pixar theory, kind of like meta storytelling. So what's interesting is Lightyear is about the guy that the toy Buzz Lightyear, that the character Buzz Lightyear is based off of. So it's kind of like, okay.
It's there's a dude. They made an action figure about this dude. That action figure came to life in Toy Story.
Right. And this
with Chris
guy
Evans. Chris Evans is going to be
Evans.
voicing this. I didn't know I wanted this. I didn't know I needed this, but I'm infinity and beyond interested.
Yes.
In this film. Another random one that I didn't know that it makes perfect sense. I totally get it. Although I don't know about the name. Zootopia Plus.
Okay.
I don't know why they call it Zootopia Plus.
Here's why they did this. So I'm not a huge Zootopia fan, but this is brilliant. They are creating reality TV shows inside of the Zootopia world. That's why it's called Zootopia Plus, because it's a group of different series that are like if TV shows existed inside the Zootopia universe. Like how brilliant of just an idea, just a concept. I don't know if they will execute this well or not, but like, the little mouse that it's going to be like the Real Housewives of whatever, and it's starring her and all of her friends.
Eddie, my brain, like, in a
It's
good
so
way,
brilliant.
my brain is hurting because there's so many thoughts just invading because I'm hearing about. I didn't know that that's what they were doing. It was one thing to just be like, I would have watched a series just about random.
Sure.
This world that like mimics our own, but it's animals. And even I'm not even a huge animal guy, but this is different. To go the level of going, we're going to take it another step further and give it a genre of reality television.
Mm-hmm.
I'm speechless. I'm in.
Yeah. And I, off the top of my head, can't remember, but there's like at least three little sub-series that is going to have within itself. And it's just brilliant. Disney Animation also announced their all new film Encanto, which takes place in Colombia. I'm really excited about this one. Music written by Lin-Manuel Miranda. Can't wait. The idea of a magical Spanish speaking film, like, yeah, you're checking a lot of boxes there for me that I'm really, really excited about. Speaking of checking boxes, did you see the next live action film announced? Pinocchio, directed by Robert Zemeckis, starring Tom Hanks.
Wow. He's Geppetto?
He's Geppetto.
Interesting.
Like, I'm excited.
That's right. That's right in your alley. Eddie, my brain hurts so much. Do you have other things? I'm looking here right now, and there's Christian, and it just says Christian Bale is going to be joining the next Thor movie.
Yes, he's the villain, but that's Marvel. We did that last week.
We didn't even hit that last week.
There's a sequel to Enchanted called Disenchanted, starring Amy Adams. I don't know about you. I was a big fan of that one. Super excited for that. Gonna be so good. We're not even touching. Pixar announced tons of not just Lightyear, but Turning Red and a couple other films that they're coming out.
Oh, Turning Red, where the little girl, when she gets excited, she turns into a panda.
Yeah,
that's incredible. That's a great idea. That's what I loved about some of the Pixar news was they of all of the different properties that they just announced. Most everything in here is a remake or tie-in to other things. Like Lightyear is a tie-in to Toy Story. Zootopia is a retelling of. It's just like inside that same world. I am very glad that Pixar still itself is creating brand new stories that are different, new, you've never seen before. I very much appreciate that, even though my nostalgia and fandom is still peaked by all the other Chippendale, Little Mermaid, Ice Age, Hocus Pocus, all of those things. But.
So you can go on YouTube, and so what they did is like Kathleen Kennedy presented all the Lucasfilm stuff, Kevin Feige announced all the Marvel stuff, and they had Pete Docter announce all of the Pixar stuff. He's the chief creative officer of Pixar. He's also the director of movies like Inside Out, Up, big movies. And he had a wonderful, like, I just love Pixar's storytelling approach, right? His whole presentation told this story of how Pixar is all about innovation meeting tradition. And like everything was framed between those two, like innovation and tradition. And so he kind of played off of that, the times that, like, okay, we've got Lightyear that comes out of our tradition. They've got a really cool series coming out about Doug and like the adventures of Doug the dog from Up. But then also like innovation, highlighting their new movie Soul that comes out on Christmas Day, but also talking about like Turning Red. And then Luca is their other film that's coming out in 2021 based off of two boys growing up in Italy. And apparently there's a really interesting creative twist to that. I have only heard rumors. I'm not going to say anything here so that we won't spoil. But I just love that tradition meets innovation is just Pixar at what we love and appreciate about it the most.
Well, Eddie, before I cram anything else into my head, I think it's time that we let what's in our heads about today's movie come out to just alleviate some of the pressure that's up there right now as we talk about what you probably clicked on this and hoping to talk about was, whatever. I don't know what grammar hashtag. We're going to talk about A Muppet Christmas Carol.
Cue the Disney sound effect.
IMDb description for today for this movie is this. The Muppet characters tell their version of the classic tale of an old and bitter miser's redemption on Christmas Eve.
You really busted out your
happy voice.
Your happy voice.
Happy voice. Dang. As if I'm narrating a child's story.
Let's start with this. Were you a kid who liked the Muppets in general? There's a lot. You got the Muppets show, you got the original Muppets movie. There's actually several Muppets movie even before this one.
The movie where they go to Hollywood. That's the one we watched a lot. My parents had taped it off of TV, VHS. And so we always had this fast forward through commercials and stuff like that.
Yes. We had so many of those.
Oh, yeah.
Like I know this is a side tangent, but every year at Christmas, my mom had recorded all of her favorite Christmas movies off of TV. And yeah, it's a time warp because you would go back and you watch some of those.
Yeah, like the Raisins commercials.
Yes. I love it.
Sprint, but AT&T, the little pin drop. It was the most random, like dated, like of that time commercials. But anyways. No, yeah, so, that was the big one that we watched over and over and over again is where he gets the car and then they drive cross country and stuff like that.
For whatever reason, we were not like a huge Muppets family. Like we watched some of the movies and I remember different ones coming out. But we were just never like a huge Muppet family. Now, like my brother-in-law's family, huge Muppets family. Like they know all of them by heart. We go to Disney's Hollywood Studios and we got to go to the whole Muppet section and watch Muppet 3D Vision. So yeah, like I there are diehard Muppet fans out there in the world. Kermit, and it's intense.
Kermit is kind of the Mickey Mouse of the Muppets in the sense of like this never does anything wrong. The character that sometimes people kind of want to be pulled out even more, like do something wrong, be angry, be whatever. So he kind of is that Mickey Mouse central character for the Muppets.
So what you're saying is they need to make a really like pull the character out, make a dynamic set of short cartoons that explore kind of a different side of the character. That
feels like Ren and Stimpy. Yeah, they should do
not at all. It doesn't feel like Ren and Stimpy.
This is going to keep coming up.
We were thinking of you because we were watching some of the new episodes of that, The Wonderful World of Mickey Mouse, and my mom hated it. She was like, "This is stupid. Turn it off." And we're like, "No, we love it. Lewis loves
Nancy
it."
And tell her that how much I appreciate her commentary
on
it.
But that's not what we're talking about. A Muppet Christmas Carol is actually one of my wife's family's like go to. You cannot get through the Christmas season without watching the Muppet Christmas Carol.
I don't remember seeing this before.
I remember watching it maybe once, but it was never a big part of our family tradition, which like Sarah was dumbfounded because for her, like I said, like they know every word, like sing the songs, like it is a big deal.
No, this movie escaped me isn't the right word, but the right phrase for it, but had never really watched it before. And so it was kind of a new experience watching it when we watched it for the first time, probably about a month ago. I want to say like middle of November, we turned this on.
Like this was your first time ever?
First time. I'm pretty confident I had never seen a Muppet Christmas Carol. I think I would have remembered Michael Caine playing it, which speaking of Michael Caine as Scrooge, I appreciated how entirely straight he played this when all the rest of everything else around him is ridiculous. He plays it so serious, like a serious
which is
actor.
What you need. It's what you need. Like you gotta have the straight-faced guy. Otherwise the zaniness of the Muppets doesn't land.
Like the fish boomerang in the marketplace. The fish boomerang.
So we just have the tropes, like the little like Muppetness of all of this.
Izzo the rat playing himself.
I just absolutely love it. One of my favorite moments is all of the bookkeeping rats asking for more coal in the fire, and they're all like just shaking or whatever. And he's like, "How about the unemployment line?" And it turns all over. And they're all in tropical outfits.
Tiki outfits, yeah.
Heat wave! Da, 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 da. Like that type of stuff. I just love and adore and find so much fun. We watched it all as a family, and Lewis loved it. Like he's glued on it the whole time because he just loved.
My son wasn't a huge fan of it, but there was definitely some moments that he like reacted strongly to in a good way. So he I could see it coming when Jacob Marley was starting to appear or whatever, and then he just poofs in, and that definitely caught him off. Yeah, he kind of caught him off guard for a second when he goes to the door knocker and it goes Scrooge. He was like, "Whoa!" That was fun. So when the Marley, he was like, "That was scary." And then when I was like the third one coming, I was like, "What's gonna happen?" But he's like, I think this is the second time we had watched it because I just rewatched it a couple nights ago or yesterday for this podcast to refresh my memory, take some notes. And I was, "What's coming?" But he's like, "Skeleton Man's coming." But overall, he wasn't as engaged in this as he has been in some of the other films.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that I just love about the Muppets in general, just kind of that the slapstick kind of corny humor at times. I just love those little moments that they just kind of tack on there. One of the ones that I really loved is I do like Gonzo as Charles Dickens and like him narrating the story and just all of the different ways that they make excuses for him to be like going along in the story. And like as he's flying, what is it? Where they're flying to Christmas Past, and like he's just threw a rope around Ebenezer Scrooge and they're just like flying along. I just love that. I just think it's hilarious. One of my favorite moment of Gonzo as Dickens is when they're actually back in Scrooge's old schoolhouse, and they've got all the busts of like classic authors, and
And then it's
Shakespeare and all that, and then it's Dickens, sitting at the very end. I'm like, I love it. I love just the self-reference there.
There's
It's
a
so
lot of
good.
self-reference for sure. One of the things that watching this made me go, you know what? I've actually never read A Christmas Carol. So I found it because it's such an older book. It's actually in the public domain. So please, if you find it on Amazon or whatever, don't pay for it. You can just find a free copy of it and read it. So I started reading through it.
Or support your local library.
Or support your local library. Sorry, forgot that we were contractually obligated to say that and save the whales. But besides that, I read through. I read the first like quarter of it, I think, and it's interesting when he I didn't catch it the first time I watched it, but now after reading it and then watching it, his comment about, okay, let's start talking about it. The Marleys were dead. Like he's like, it's because that is the actual opening of the book is Marley was dead as a doornail. And it's just like he spends a page talking about how dead Jacob Marley is. And so it was funny that they had obviously had some level of adding some extra things from the book inside of it, not just the overall narrative, but like, this is funny that he spent the page. Let's play it up inside of it. He's like, it's really important that you know, or nothing else will make sense. Jacob was dead.
Oh, yes. The Fozzie Bear doing the Fezzy wig.
Yep. That was a good choice.
But it was a Fozzie wig. That's just another one of my like favorite kind of little moments there.
He runs a rubber chicken factory.
Yes.
The Jacob and I don't know what they gave the other guy's name, but when they split up Jacob Marley into two people into what are their names? That they're the critic, what's their name? You look it up.
Yes, they're the two old men who are always sit up in the balcony.
Scrooge loved that. But I love when they're at Fozzie Wig's party and he says, "Come on, say something." It's like, "Oh, we hate listening to these." And it says, "Merry Christmas." And it's like, it was dumb. It was obvious. It was pointless. It was short. We loved it.
Oh,
another
goodness.
the Christmas I don't want to talk too much about the Christmas past spirit because she kind of unnerved me with her little tiny fingers, like giving. Like I don't know what that was all about. I don't know if that. Do you have any?
Let's just pause here and talk about this because Sarah and I had a lengthy discussion here. Is there? So the spirits, right? You have the three spirits of past, present, and to come.
Plus Jacob Marley. Yep.
Plus Jacob Marley. Sure. They're always, every interpretation that I have watched, because there are a ton of adaptations of Dickens' A Christmas Carol. They're always just weird. Like especially the past, like the past ones, they're just like weird, creepy. But weird. I think this one is probably the weirdest and just creepy.
It's like a baby.
Yeah.
It's got little tiny hand when it takes his hand with little tiny.
Yeah, like they always just like so creepy on that end, and then like the future is always the Grim Reaper, and it's just like super freaky and scary. And then you always have the present, which is just like some big jolly fun guy. Yeah.
I enjoyed the jolly guy. I enjoyed that they made him age as the day goes through because he only lives once. He like only lives for that day.
And he's an actual Muppet. Like that's, I think, what's weird about the past. It's like you're not a Muppet. You're not a human. Like I don't understand.
Yeah. So I enjoyed that about him. I also love that they gave him short-term memory loss or long-term memory. I don't know. He just kept on repeating himself. I love that little addition to that piece of it.
And as the spirits go on, I think more and more you just find I don't know, the nuances of Michael Caine's performance. Like, I really enjoyed just kind of seeing him come out of that. And there's just kind of a more frivolity to his character, if I could use that word.
Although I will say that the one piece of his acting or his performance that could have done without was his sad attempt at dancing and his singing.
Yes.
My wife said, well, they had to have him sing in it because that would just be weird to dub him over with another voice. I'm like, yeah, but it was bad because he had his own song to sing. It was Michael Caine. I love you so much, but this is you should not do more of this. I'm sorry.
No, and we're very glad that was all that he did. I do love that scene though when they're in the Cratchit's house and as they're like zooming out and it's just all of the various Muppets that are in that scene. Like there's a horse, there's lobsters, there's like everything. I just love, they're just gonna like, hey, let's every Muppet, like just pull them all out of the warehouse. That one, yes, that one too. Like, it just made, that was just that scene where I'm like, and it keeps going and going. How many more? Oh my goodness. And then the lobsters in the window. I'm just like, of course.
Another ironic thing is sets it up so his bookkeepers, they're all freezing. They just want a little bit of coal to light their fire. And when he turns the corner and he's become the good Ebenezer, I just love this. He buys all his bookkeepers coal, which is what Santa puts in the stockings for bad kids. And I just like, I love that little note. Like that's funny. I appreciate that. Couple other things that I want to deep dive into, and I already forgot. Where did it go? Oh, another random line. Darkness was cheap and Scrooge liked it. I feel like that's got to be from the book. That's got to be from the book.
That's a very Dickens line.
Nope. It's gone. Whatever I was going to say is gone.
I got to say, like, one of the things I appreciate about the Muppets is they have this way of, even though these are puppets, right? Of just giving these oddly wonderful, nuanced performances. And I gotta say, for me, the moment is Beaker and Dr. Honeydew as they come around at the beginning to collect, charity stuff. There's just like these wonderful, like back and forth, playful moments that if you can't recall, like go back and just watch this. Just like Honeydew, just like, oh, what could we do for you?
When he like leans in and he's like, yes! How much can we put you down for?
How much can we put you down for? And you just see like Beaker reacting in the background, and as everything Scrooge says that is so deplorable, you just see like Beaker like, ooh, oh my, it's just like. It's so much fun. And then that you meet them there at the end, and like Beaker's the one that gives them the scarf and all that. I just love how much of a performance they really can put into these puppets. And I don't know, I see it well there.
Cool. I maybe this
remember?
Is part. Yes, I remember now. It took me a while. I want to talk about what the main theme apparently of this film, even though the rest of it we're like, yes, it's about being kind and generous and not being a Scrooge. When he turns the corner and he has his moment and he says, I figured out how I'm going to live my life differently. I will live my life in the past, the present, and the future. Eddie, can you explain what that is supposed to mean? Because I'm trying to figure it out and I can't, because you can't live in the past, the present, and the future.
No, it's living in light and of those. So
I missed something.
Yes. So the previous Scrooge was running from his past. So he was acting like his past never existed. And he only thought of himself in the present. That's why like the present, they're visiting, all the other people. And so it's like, how do I accept what has happened to me, live in the present in light of the future?
This is what I needed. I needed somebody to.
It's like a well-rounded view of considering all things.
I needed because I wrote it down as he was talking about it. I was like, I don't quite understand.
I believe that also is straight Dickens.
It's got to be.
Yeah.
It's got to be. And it makes more sense because that's what we've done. I got the emotion of it, and I got the generosity side of it. I got the kindness side of it, and to help other people and to be empathetic for other people and to frankly care about other people. But it was that line that I like, I guess it is supposed to be summing it up, but I don't quite know. I couldn't two pieces together. So thank you for enlightening me on that. I appreciate that.
That's what I'm here for.
So what would you, how would you, oh, no. We almost missed this. And I think this might be a fight. This might be a little bit of a potential fight. We almost went through a musical movie without talking about the music.
Okay.
I personally, taking all the songs in this film, I don't know that I liked a single one. I don't know that I liked a single one of these songs. Can't sing another one of them right now. I can't even remember any of them.
No, I could not agree with you more.
Interesting. I was expecting a fight. I was mostly preparing myself.
They are completely and totally forgettable.
That's how I felt too.
And my wife is going to kill me because like she sang along the whole time we watched it.
Poor Sarah.
Like they love it. But yeah, I'm always like, what now? Why did they make this a musical?
My wife liked it too, and I don't know why. I don't know. Yeah. I didn't like the music. I don't have a great reason why. I just felt like I can't remember any of these songs.
Well, let's be honest, like Michael Caine's not the only one who's struggling to sing here. It's not like the Muppets themselves have that great of voices. So we're not gonna like.
But I can remember like the ending song in the Muppets, their cross country tour to Hollywood. Like I can't go to Hollywood. I can remember da 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 da. Like I can feel it right now when I'm talking about it. But this movie, the music, it was bad, right? Like it wasn't. It was forgettable.
Yeah, I don't think I would say it's bad. I would just say that it's not impressionable.
Unimpressionable.
Unimpressionable. Depressionable.
That's not a word, but it's
depressing. No,
it's depressing.
Yeah, it was just kind of like, okay.
Yeah, that's all I have to say about it. You're not, if you're wanting to watch a fun musical, like that's not the reason you're going to like this film.
The reason you sit down to watch a Muppets Christmas Carol is because of the Muppet tropes. Like that's tropes why
set in Christmas.
Yeah, like, and also of all of the Dickens, of all the Christmas Carol interpretation, like this is the one you can watch with your 2-year-old.
Even more than like, a Mickey's Christmas Carol?
Oh, okay. Okay, that's true. We do have that one. I always forget about the Mickey's one. Well, remember, we're trying to act like that one doesn't exist because we have enough Mickey obsession going on right now.
Mickey's Christmas Carol is the one I grew up watching a lot.
Okay.
That's the Christmas Carol. And in fact, when he goes to his first childhood place, I was like, wait, I don't remember this from... I don't know if they covered this one in A Mickey's Christmas Carol. I think they just go straight to Fozziwigs, maybe.
Yeah. No, I was referencing more the Robert Zemeckis one with Jim Carrey that is just trippy. Ooh, it is weird. Have you seen this?
The poster is blazed in my
Yeah, do you remember right Robert Zemeckis was doing this whole live motion capture? Express? He did Polar Express, and then he went on to do this one.
I want to chat with my son.
Yeah, it's just kind of like I didn't understand the obsession with motion capture animation. It just didn't do it for me. And the Jim Carrey one was just like, no, you're the Grinch. Stay in your lane. Don't do this.
Yeah, he does have several Christmas movies on his IMDb. That's right. We're ready to rate this, Eddie?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna give this a 3. 3 fruit snacks.
Man, I just don't know that I really care to watch this again. I watched it. I ended up watching it twice because I didn't take notes the first time, and I wanted it to have be. I made the mistake of not watching it like closer to the time of recording on one of the previous ones, and I always felt like I was trying to pull too far back. Honey, we blew up the baby that we kept on call. It said it right there, wrong again.
You did it again.
Blew up the kid.
It's honey, I blew up the
kid, and it's a I, not we. It's so I watched this again, and I just no. I'm gonna give it 2. I don't plan on watching this again. I'm giving it 2.
I give it 3 because Sarah, I love you, and I know you're gonna have us watch this for at least the rest of our kids' lives.
Marital row.
So yes, I give it 3 for that reason. But this is like A Christmas Carol is quintessential,
It's a great story.
Western literature. I think every local theater company does their version of it around the Christmas season. Like it is just like part and parcel for Christmas. And there's so many things within it that have like just are a part of the vernacular. Like anybody who is not festive during Christmas, we call them a Scrooge. They're
Eddie,
a Scrooge.
I need to confess something. For much of my life, I have been a Scrooge. I'm not joking. For the majority of my life, I literally asked my mom, I think it was last year sometime, it's like, because I started coming around to this, like, I need to stop doing this. I need to be more festive, more generous, like, just enjoy the moment, enjoy all the things that, even though some things are kitschy and some of the things are like we've sung them into the ground, you know what? It's fun. And I think in 2020, we really needed that. So it's been a lot better. But I asked my mom, it was back last Christmas time. I was like, hey, do you have a photo of me from like, I don't know, like post college or in college time, like after college, came back, and every photo she sent, I was looking so miserable, just like in my hoodie, just like draped over my head, like just sitting on the couch, like presents around me, but still just looking so somber. And Eddie, I'm sorry. So watching this again, going like, man, this has been this idea of like holding on to the things that I want and being selfish and just want those things. I resonated again with Scrooge, and I was like, no, I can't be this.
It's a powerful story, right?
It is a powerful story.
I think that is
Tiny Tim. I was about to say may he rest in peace, but he didn't. He went on to live at least a little bit longer than the time frame.
I think this is what's so. I know this is not a Dickens podcast or anything like that, but like all of his stories have an ability to speak to like a deeply felt human emotion that we all interact in one way or another. From Oliver Twist to Great Expectations to A Tale of Two Cities, like just like each one just has an ability to just pull that human emotional tendency that we slip into. Like all of us find our different way of kind of slipping into. And this is that story of just like, are you a generous person? Are you somebody who is kind, selfless, right? Mm-hmm. That is focused on other people. And I, as much as this is trying to be a very lighthearted version of that, a very just kind of like we said, just kind of the fun antics of the Muppets. Yeah. That moral of the story just still shines through and that just kind of speaks to the strength, the genius that is just that general story structure of A Christmas Carol that Dickens wrote all those years ago.
Totally agree. Great story. Yeah. I don't have any unintended moral consequence of this because I love the core element, the core story of this core message of this film, and I am now interested to go back and see all the different versions to rank what my favorite actual adaptation of this is now that because I forgot about the Jim Carrey version.
That this is actually there's quite a few like blog posts and articles on the internet ranking your favorite Scrooge is a common thing. I will say My favorite Scrooge is Patrick Stewart, but I'm also just a huge Patrick Stewart fan.
Which version is he in?
I can't remember the year, but it was probably the late 90s. There was a version that came out with Patrick Stewart as Scrooge. It's a more classic adaptation.
Christmas Carol 1999. Ooh, yeah, he is rearing back his cane at us in this.
I believe George C. Scott portrayed Scrooge at one time. That's kind of considered the seminal portrayal of Scrooge, at least in black and white. That's usually what people think of as his portrayal of of Scrooge.
And then we also have Scrooged, starring Bill Murray, which is a completely different. From just looking at it, it's definitely not the same thing.
It's your adult version.
Adult. It sounds like about the right word for a Bill Murray movie in the 80s. So, yeah. So
all good stuff.
Eddie, what's going to be our poll question for our listeners?
If you had to hang out with one of the three spirits, which one would you hang out? You have to.
That is a good question.
The creepy baby child thing that is the past, the lighthearted, fun, I want to give him a hug present, or the silent, ever-present future. Can
we twist this question a little bit?
Sure.
Am I free to twist it a little bit? I don't know if you like it or not.
Twist away.
Counting Jacob Marley, which of the
I love that you keep including the Marleys as a part of the spirits. I never thought of them as that way.
I always forget about the past one.
No, but they're ghosts. The Marleys are ghosts. The other three are spirits. They didn't actually live. They're
a spirit to go deep dive on this. A spirit did not live. A ghost did live.
Well, a spirit, it's like a sprite, or it's just kind of like a representation of something. Like it's the spirit of Christmas past. It's the spirit of Christmas present.
This is why you listen to this podcast. It's just for us to...
It's a personification of an idea or of a feeling, but the Marleys are ghosts.
Okay. Then we will. So my question was...
I know I am getting way too technical on something that doesn't really matter, but...
So because I assume that most everyone...
I'm weird like that.
Most everyone would say, which ghost would you hang out? No one's going to pick the baby. No one's going to pick death. They're always going to pick the middle one.
I don't know. The death, at least you're not having a guy talk over you the whole time.
My twist on this is, which of the spirits or the Marleys would you be most afraid of if they showed up in your bedroom?
That would be hard. That's a really good one.
I just want to add that little twist to it because I think
in your bedroom,
spirit and or ghost would you be most afraid of?
I like that twist.
Most frightened if they showed up in your room. But I think that's it for today. Thank you for listening to another episode of Honey, We Made a Disney. Can you do it again? Do you want to do it again?
Honey, we made a Disney podcast.
Or it's Honey, made a Disney podcast? Like a question.
This is going to be our thing, is now every time we say it.
We have to say it like, we made a Disney podcast?
Honey.
Please leave us a rating, a review, wherever you're listening to podcasts at. We're all over the place. Please go to our website, honeywemade.com/listener, and you can answer today's poll question to tell us which spirit you'd be most afraid of, or ghost you'd be most afraid of. And please subscribe, follow us wherever you get your podcast. But Eddie, what is the next movie that we're going to be reviewing?
One of my family's favorites is Homeward Bound.
So you have that to look forward to. For
all of you animal lovers out there, JB is so excited.
I think you might be surprised by my review next week. Well, I have to go back and rewatch it still to remember if I have the same feelings as I did back as a kid. But yes, so thank you for listening. Oh, you can see all of our films that we're going to be covering at honeywemade.com/movies, all the ones we've done previously. This being our 14th episode, all the ones that we've done up until now, and then where we're going to be going from here, because we're getting close to breaking into the next year. 1993 is starting with Homeward Bound. So thanks for listening to another episode. I got to run because I got to go de-ghost my house a little bit.
I actually have Christmas gifts to wrap. So
nice.
I got to get wrapping.